and gentlemen, could you please direct your attention to the infield area, where we would like to take a few moments before today's game to honor our 7 seniors who have meant so much to the Augustana baseball program. This group has enjoyed tremendous success during their collective career, including 2 CCIW tournament championships, 2 NCAA tournament firsts, and over 115 wins. They have provided leadership and spirited play and have helped maintain the great tradition that is Augustana baseball. We thank them for all the long hours of work and dedication. We also like to take this time to thank their parents for their support during their college years. Now let's meet those 7 tremendous seniors. First, Cole Green. Cole is a utility player from DeVille, Illinois, out of Merriam Academy. He is a marketing and finance major and is being escorted by his parents, Matthew and Tiffany. Next up, Colton Davis. Colton is an infielder from Rome, New York, and Horace County Central High School. He is a psychology major and is being walked out by his parents, Brad and Jennifer. And next up for Augustana's Daniel Moselle. Daniel is an infielder from Bloomington, Illinois, and University High School. He is a business management major and is being escorted by Andy and Julianne Moselle. Grant Diggins is our next senior. Grant is an outfielder from Parker, Colorado, and Ponderosa High School. He is a business analytics major and is being walked out by Mother Lisa and Father Dave. Next up is Cameron Miller. Cam is a pitcher from Byron, Illinois, and Byron High School. He is a psychology major and is being escorted by his father Kevin, mother Jen, and stepmother Angie. Next up is Easton Nichols. Easton is a pitcher from Highlands Ranch, Colorado, and Mountain Vista High School. He is a business finance and intelligence double major with a minor in psychology. He is being accompanied by Mother Shasta and Father Scott. And next up is Nathan Melby. Nathan is a pitcher from Western Springs, Illinois, and Lyons Township High School. He's a mechanical engineering major at Augustana and is being escorted by his parents, Caroline and Todd, and sister Julianne. Ladies and joiners, please join us in congratulating the 2025 Augustana Baseball Senior Class. And now, in keeping with the long-standing Swanson Stadium tradition, the parents of our senior players will throw out the ceremonial first pitch. innings. And one more time, let's say thank you to our baseball seniors.
Shaking to a little, shook me all night long.
shortstop, number 5, Daniel Moselle, bats 8th. And rounding out our lineup, second baseman, number 2, Alec McGinnis. Please rise if you're able. Remove your caps for the playing of our national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we're having some technical difficulties. One of our sports information has it using the iPad. I do apologize. And here comes your Augustana Vikings! Hendren in right field. Kuhn in center field. Hackman in left field. Catcher Simon. First baseman Charlie Bergen. Second baseman Alec McGinnis. Shortstop is Daniel Moselle. Third baseman Colton Davis.
And the visiting Elmhurst Blue Jays for the final doubleheader here of this season here at home. Vikings are trying to work their way into the conference tournament here. Currently sitting at 7th, but there are several paths to the 6th spot here, and the Vikings are trying to find that one here today. So it's senior day. There are a ton of folks in attendance. Not quite the 70, 80 degree weather we had hoped for, so it's in the upper 50s. And yes, there are sweatshirts, jackets, and a number of blankets here in the stands of Swanson Stadium. Now on the mound here for the Vikings, Zach DeMarley. Behind the dish there, Alex Simon. Over on first, Charlie Bergen. Alec McGinnis over there at second. Colton Davis at third. Daniel Moselle at short. Caleb Hackman at left. Ryan Kuhn at center. And Riley Hendren over there in right field. So to lead things off here, Brett Vercruz, the shortstop. First pitch is a called strike. Back-to-back strikes here from the Viking ace in Zach DeMarley. Here's the 0-2. That one is hit. And that looks like that'll be the shortstop. Daniel Moselle will pull that one in for a first out. Now Tommy Wickers, the left field.
Left fielder, number 33, Tommy Wickers.
Wickers, the sophomore from Muskego, Wisconsin. 29 hits through 92 at bats, and he takes a first pitch in a ball from DeMarley. And that one hit to Colton Davis, and that is off the palm of the glove there. He was charging the ball there and took a big high hop and just took his eyes off of it. And that will allow Wickers down to first.
First baseman, number 21, Rock Smith.
And that should be, I'm assuming, an assessed error here on Davis. And that one's in the dirt there to Simon, and Wickers will take second. So with one out, Rock Smith, the first baseman here. And Coach Hauer might come out and maybe have a quick conversation here. DeMarley kind of working the bottom of the mound there. So Rock Smith, a junior from Elmhurst, 54 hits through 145 at bats. He's hitting .372 on the year. That is a best here for the Blue Jays. He also has a .483 on base percentage and a .641 slug and a 1.124 OPS. And it makes sense for the first baseman batting in that 3 spot. That will be hit to Moselle. Moselle will get it there to Bergen in time, and he does for a 6-3 out, number 2. But that does allow Wickers to advance to third.
Next up, right fielder, number 24, Evan Johnson.
So Evan Johnson will come in with 2 outs. Sophomore from Florence, Wisconsin, 33 hits through 120 at bats. That one will be fouled off. Johnson's hitting .275 on the year, .391 on base, and a .492 slug. That's good for an .883 OPS. That is a 1-1 count. And that one will be fouled off. Count will move to 1-2. And the 1-2 from DeMarley off the plate there. Count will move to 2-2. And again, Evan Johnson just fighting those off. And the 2-2, that one is hit, popped up. Looks like it'll be Ryan Coons going to call that one off for the final out. And Elmhurst leaves Wickers over there on third as we are heading to the bottom of the first. So on the mound here for the Blue Jays, Charlie Smith is getting the nod. And behind home plate there, Eric Malott. Over there on first, Rock Smith. At second, Carson Gennady. Over there at third, Calvin Keith. At shortstop, Brett Veracruz. And then out there in left field will be Tommy Wickers. In center field, Adon Nieves. And rounding things out in right field, Evan Johnson. So Charlie Smith, a senior from Fairfield, Ohio. He comes in with a record of 1-4, a 9.210 ERA, and that is through 43 innings he has pitched. Now he is making his 11th start and appearance this year. He comes in giving up 68 hits, 46 runs, 44 of which were earned, 30 strikeouts. That is the best here in the bullpen for the Blue Jays. 21 walks through 210 batters he has faced. And that again is the most batters that someone has faced here. Jack Kruger next in line with 205. So Riley Hendren, freshman from Normal, 43 hits through 143 at-bats, starting and appearing in his 36th game for the Vikings. Hendren hitting .301, 415 in the on base, 455 in that slug. And he is a little bit better in that leadoff spot, 11 for 34. That's good for a .324 leadoff batting average. Here's the 2-1 off the plate. And the count moves to 3-2. And that one's pulled to foul. behind there saw Addison Smith pointing like that thing was going to be called in, and darn near made the parking lot. Here's the 3-2, and that will be ball 4, low and away. And Riley Hendren will take his 15th free trip down to first. Now Ryan Kuhn, another freshman here for the Vikings. 46 hits through 147 at-bats. He is starting and playing in his 38th game, hitting .313 on the year, .443 on base, and that's a .340 slug, good for a .783 OPS. Here's the 0-1 to Kuhn, and Hendren going to second. Will he slide in time? And he does, as the shortstop Veracruz not able to make that tag. So for Hendren, that is a Viking leading 13th stolen base. Here's the 0-2. That one's up and away. That was above the brim of the cap there. Here's 1-2. That must have just caught. The folks here behind home plate certainly letting the umpire know. Gotta love it here. Caleb Hackman, left fielder. He'll take the first pitch there, called strike. Hackman 44 hits through 129 at bats, and he's going to drive that to left center. That will be at the warning track. That will bring Hendren around from second, and a stand-up double from the freshman Caleb Hackman. That is his 11th double, and that is best here on this Viking roster. So Charlie Bergen with one out. That will also be the 40th RBI for Caleb Hackman. That will be the 40th run for Riley Hendren. Both best here for the Vikings. Charlie Smith with the 0-1. That one is low and off the plate and into the dirt. Good job there for Eric Malat. Gets out of his stance there. Bergen 24 hits through 68 at bats for the sophomore from Clarendon Hills. Here's the 1-1. That one's popped up, and that will head out of the field of play. So with one out, one runner on. Bergen will drive that. Good play there by Brett Veracruz, as he will get that over on a 6-3 out number 2. That does advance Hackman. So the Vikings have Hackman on third. They've already pulled one runner in. And in steps Dimitri Kanalakis. Kanalakis 25 hits, 387 at bats, while he's been hitting 287 on the year. He has been really effective, hitting 324 with 2 outs. He has 12 hits through 37 at bats with 2 outs. Kanalakis takes that first pitch. And a called strike. The 0-1. Charlie Smith with a 2.070 whip. Here's the 1-1. Hackman on third. Here's the 1-2. That one, again, will be fouled off. Again, the 1-2. And another one fouled off. Kanalakis hitting 366 for an on base and 368 slug. That's good for a 734 OPS. For the 1-2, that one right off the ankle of Charlie Smith. And actually that assisted with the out, because that would have been a base hit right over second. But yeah, that one would have been a base hit right up the middle there, but luckily that came off the ankle of Charlie Smith and was redirected to the shortstop, Brett Veracruz, who was able to get it over to first base for that final out. Well, the Vikings get one run up against the Blue Jays here. To lead things off here for Elmhurst will be Carson Gennady, followed by Calvin Keith and Blake Gold.
First off for the Blue Jays, and the second baseman, number 6, Carson Gennady.
So Carson Gennady, 19 hits through 62 at bats for the sophomore from St. Louis. He takes the first pitch there from DeMarley. Second one will be fouled off. So 1-1 is the count. Gennady starting in his 17th and playing in his 28th year for the years, hitting .306. Now he's only 1 for 10 in the leadoff spot here. Here's the 1-2, and that one off the plate there. Here's the 2-2. And again off the plate here. And the 3-2, that one is hit shallow right field. But coming in will be Riley Hendren for out number 1 here. Calvin Keith, the third baseman, will step in. Now on the mound here for the Vikings, the junior Zach DeMarley comes in with a record of 3-1. 3.23 ERA. 1.491 whip, and that first pitch is hit, and that will be a double. I don't think he's going to move to third. Nope. That one over the head of Riley Hendren. So for Calvin Keith, that will be his 5th double. Blake Gold, senior from Gurnee, Illinois, 4 hits through 28 at-bats there in the DH spot. Gold appearing in his 12th game, his 8th start, hitting 143, 200 on base, a 357 slug. That's good for a 557 OPS. Marley checks Keith there at second, delivers the 1-1. Inside, count moves to 2-1. Now DeMarley, 53 innings pitched here this year. He's starting in his 11th, appearing in his 12th. Delivers the 2-1. He's given up 50 hits, 30 runs, 19 of which were earned. 36 strikeouts, 29 walks through 239 batters. He has faced, here's the 2-2. That one will be fouled off. That double by Calvin Keith, the 11th by DeMarley here this year. He's given up just a triple, a trio of home runs. 2-2. And that one just past the glove of Moselle. And Hackman will get it in. So the Blue Jays have runners here on the corner with 1 out. And Eric Malott, senior from Noblesville, Indiana, comes in hitting 24 hits, 109 at-bats, starting in his 32nd game, appearing in his 33rd. And while he's bitten, that'll be another hit, and that will even things up for the Blue Jays. As that single by Malott will score Calvin Keith. And for Malott, that will be his 22nd RBI. That is 3rd best here for the Blue Jays. And that will be Calvin Keith's 12th run of the season. And Adon Nieves, the center fielder, freshman from Rochester, Illinois, 25 hits to 112 at-bats, starting in his 30th game, appearing in his 34th. Hitting 223 on the year, a 290 on base, 295 slug, and a 585 OPS. Here's the 1-0. Now, while he's been hitting 223, taking a dip there, and that one is flipped over to first. It almost looked like he caught that there. But a nice job there. 1-3 for out number 2. But that does put Gold on second and Malott. Gold on third and Malott over on second. Now Brett Veracruz will step in. And he'll take that first pitch. That'll be to Moselle. He will not get it there in time, and the Blue Jays will take a lead as he knocks in Blake Gold from third. Eric Malott moves to second. So for Brett Veracruz, it's the 19th RBI for him. And that'll actually be the first run of, might be the first run of the season, I think, for Blake Gold. I'll have to double check that one. Now the 1-0 to Tommy Wickers. Count is 3-0, and there is some action in the bullpen here already. Uncharacteristic for a Zach DeMarley start this early. Zach's had a little trouble with some placement here early on in the game. Here's the 3-1. So we are back to full. Tommy Wickers. Wickers with 2 outs hitting 360. That's better than the 315 average he's had all season. And with that, Coach Hauer will come out and have a quick conversation on the mound. That'll move Brett Veracruz to second. That will be the 25th walk by Tommy Wickers. And that is a best here on this Elmhurst Blue Jay team. So Elmhurst will see their 8th batter here in the top of the second as they hold on to a 2-1 lead. Now Rock Smith, well, he was hitting 372. That dips a little bit. With 2 outs, 19 hits through 55 at bats. That's good for a 345. That jumps up a little bit with bases loaded. This will be his 14th bases loaded situation this year. He is 7 of 13 coming into today. Here's the 1-0 from DeMarley, and that one is hit to right center. Will that be caught? And it will for Riley Hendren. So the Blue Jays work their way through 9 at-bats, and they will take a 2-1 lead to the bottom of the second. Only one not to bat in that inning, Evan Johnson, the right fielder who was on deck. Now, you think about the conference tournament here. Elmhurst comes in 9-29 overall. And they are 3-15 in conference play. So they're at the bottom there of the CCIW. But they could play spoiler here for the Vikings. It might just be they need to take one, and that would potentially all but keep the Vikings, I think, out of the conference tournament. So we'll be checking in some of the scores here across the conference. So for Blake Gold, double checked here, that was his 4th run of the season. Looks like my sheet was not pulling in doubles, triples, or runs for both Blake Gold and Joseph Michaels. So Colton Davis, the first of the seniors here up to bat here on Senior Day. 18 hits through 81 at bats for the senior from Rome, New York. Parents Brad and Jennifer are here in Rock Island. There's the first pitch. Off and away. 2-0 here. So the count's 3-1. Just had to get a confirmation there from the umpire. And that will be ball 4 and a leadoff walk. That will be the 10th walk for Davis. While he was hitting .222, he's been pretty effective in that leadoff spot. 6 for 21, good for .286. Now the 5th year, Alex Simon will step in. 11 hits through 53 at bats. He was honored last year as a part of the prior senior class. Simon, 11 for 53 on the year and a .208 batting average. And with that pass ball there, Colton Davis will head to second. Simon has a .380 on base, a .208 slug. That's good for a .588 OPS. Ton of accolades for the 5th year that's starting behind home plate. Count moves to 2-1. And a big cut there. Count moves to 2-2. And the 2-2. That one is popped up, and that should be easily made there by the third baseman, Calvin Keith. And Daniel Moselle, the shortstop here for the Vikings. Well, Daniel Moselle, another senior here for the Vikings from Bloomington. Parents Andy and Julianne are here in the stands. 29 hits to 119 at bats. And that one will be hit. That'll be a base hit. That one dropped in just in front of Adon Nieves. That will advance Davis to third. So 5th year from Normal, Alec McGinnis, 33 hits through 112 at bats. Starting in his 35th and appearing in the 36th game here for the Vikings. Hitting .295, 409 on base, 446 slug. That's good for an .855 OPS. Now where he's dropped off a little bit this year has been with 2 runners on. Runners on the corners here is 3 for 25. So 120 batting average with 2 runners on. Count moves to 2-0. And that one will be hit to right field. That play will be made. However, Colton Davis, he will touch up and come on home and tie things up here in the bottom of the second here in Rock Island. So the Vikings back to the top of the order in the bottom of the second with Riley Hendren. Hendren comes in with 2 outs. Hendren 10 for 33 with 2 outs. That's good for a 303. So just slightly above his 301 batting average. Charlie Smith with the pair of throws over to first. Now both him and Marty Fraga, they've got the most pickoffs here on the Blue Jays team, but that'll be a base hit for Hendren. And that will take him down to first, and that'll advance Moselle to second. So Ryan Kuhn will step in with 2 outs. Now while Ryan Kuhn's been hitting .313 on the year, this will be his 32nd at-bat with 2 outs. He is 9 for 31. That's good for 290. But we're going to go after, say, his 300 batting average with 2 runners on first and second there. This is his 21st situation with a pair of runners on. 6 of 20 on the year. So strong numbers by the freshman from Freeport. And a 1-0. That will be a base hit. And the Vikings will take the lead as Daniel Moselle will come home. And sliding into third will be Riley Hendren. So Kuhn with an RBI. That will be his 17th. And for Daniel Moselle, that will be the 31st run. That moves him into the second spot. Moselle came home here on that hit. Vikings have Ryan Kuhn over on first. We have a vacant second base. And Riley Hendren over on third. As there's a quick conversation here on the mound. So Caleb Hackman coming in. Now Hackman hitting .341 on the year. That is third best here on the Vikings. A .446 on base. A .512 slug, that's best, and second best here on the Vikings. With a .958 OPS. Now he's hitting .220 with 2 outs. 11 for 50 coming into today. 171 though with 2 runners on. 6 for 35. Here's the 0-1. And the 0-2 from Smith for strike 3. And the final out. The Vikings leave 2 on, but not before taking a 3-2 lead in the bottom of the second. We're heading to the top of the third when we return.
Leading off for Elmhurst, number 24, Evan Johnson.
And that one popped up, and that will be the first out as Evan Johnson 0 for 2 now.
Next batter for the Blue Jays, the second baseman, number 6, Carson Gennady.
So Carson Gennady stepping in, 394 on base, a 500 slug, good for an 894 OPS. As the count moves to 1 and 2. And that one will be popped up, and it looks like that'll be another play here by the third baseman and Colton Davis.
Next batter for Elmhurst, the third baseman, number 8, Calvin Keith.
So with 2 outs, Calvin Keith will be making his second plate appearance. Now Keith hitting 255 on the year, 375 on base, 404 slug, and that's good for a 779 OPS. Now he's been pretty effective at the plate with 2 outs this year, hitting 313, 5 of 16 so far. And the 0-2. That one popped up. Will Bergen get to it in time? No, it will sail over the fence towards the shed. And DeMarley, 2 outs. There's the 0-2 off the plate. See Simon set up off to the right, trying to get Keith to chase that one. Here's the 1-2. That will be down to Colton Davis, and that will be the second one there. He has second error here for the Vikings. He had the initial. This should actually be the first one for him here. And that will be hit to the shortstop, Daniel Moselle, and he will get it to Bergen for the final out. So, Daniel Moselle and Colton Davis both with the pair of fielding errors, but neither one has really been at a big impactful time of the game here. And the Vikings keep the Blue Jays at bay in the top of the third. Charlie Smith here, still on the mound for the Blue Jays. Nobody on the bullpen down there looking down the right field line. Vikings originally gotten a couple of pitchers ready in the bullpen. Back there in the first and second. But DeMarley with a good third inning. 5 batters, retired 3 of them here. 2 on pop-ups and 1 on a 6-3 for the final out. But to lead things off, Charlie Bergen. Charlie Bergen hitting .353. That is just slightly behind the Viking leader, Ethan Sosnowski, .354. Bergen .477 for the sophomore, .485 slug. That's good for a .962 OPS. This is just his 12th leadoff of the season. There's the 1-0 for Smith. Count moves to 2-0. Bergen 1 for 11, a .091 leadoff batting average. Count is 2-1. And that one will be hit to Veracruz at shortstop. And he will get it over to Rock Smith for a 6-3 and out number 1. Now Dimitri Kanalakis. Kanalakis stepping in. The 5th year from Cary. First pitch up and away. 4-1. And lays down a bunt down the third base line. Is he going to get there in time? He beats it. So Calvin Keith not able to get that play over to Rock Smith in time. Colton Davis, he had a leadoff walk in the second. Had a pass ball, advanced to second, came around and scored. That tied the ball game up. There in the bottom of 2. He'll step in. Colton Davis, .360 on base, .333 slug. That's good for a .693 OPS. Kanalakis over there on first for the Vikings. 5 stolen bags. Now he has been caught stealing and picked once. 1-0. That one driven to left field. Will it be back far enough? No, that will be at the warning track, and Tommy Wickers able to pull that one in. That one looked good initially when it left the barrel of the bat. So that'll be out number 2. So Alex Simon will step in. Well, he's been hitting .208 for the year. Batting .190 with 2 outs for the switch hitter. He is 4 for 21 this year with 2 outs. And he takes the first pitch inside for a called strike. And the 0-1 from Smith up and away. Above the brim of the cap there. Second baseman Carson Gennady kind of shifting more, playing deep there at second base. Actually, just outside the infielder there. He's going to move back over to second. And the 1-2 up and away, and Kanalakis not going to get there in time. Had a late jump on it and will be thrown out at second by Eric Malott. That will be the final out. So Simon will lead off. When we come back to the bottom of the fourth. So to lead off, top of the fourth here, would be the man that just threw out Kanalakis there at second. That's Eric Malott, the catcher. So Eric Malott, the senior from Noblesville, Indiana, hitting .220 on the year, .333 on base, a .321 slug. That's good for a 654 OPS. And he takes a dip there in the leadoff spot, hitting .192. Malott just 5 hits through 26 at bats here in the leadoff. The first one by DeMarley is a ball. That one low and away off the plate. And good cut there by Malott. 1-1 is the count. Now Malott's got a pair of homers on the year. 5 doubles, no triples. That one will be foul. So the count will move to 1-2. Here in game one, the amount of total viewers is down quite a bit. That's because we have a lot of fans, a lot of Viking parents have traveled in to Rock Island for this final game. Senior Day. 1-2. That one driven to left field, but Hackman will settle underneath that one for the leadoff out number 1.
Next batter for Elmhurst, the center fielder, number 1, Don Nieves.
So Don Nieves with his second at bat, he hit into a 1-3 out number 2, and that will be again back to a 1-3 and out number 2. So it was a little bit of a Groundhog's Day here for Nieves.
Number 29, Stratton Veracruz.
And with 2 outs, Brett Veracruz will step in. Now, coming into today, 38 hits through 143 at-bats. He will pop that one up. Charlie Bergen is tracking it, but that one will just get outside the fence there. And we'll move to an 0-1 count. Now, Veracruz had an RBI single. They're in the second. And we'll foul that one off. Again, count will move to 0-2. One ball, 1-2 is the count here. Now Veracruz starting and appearing in his 38th game. He's hitting .266 so far this season. And as that one was foul tipped to the backstop there. A handful of folks trying to get out of the way. Now Veracruz, 398 on base, 350 slug. That's good for 748. Now Wally's been hitting 266. He's been really effective with 2 outs, 364. This is 2-out batting average, 12 of 33. And that one got him looking for the final out. And that is just the first strikeout for DeMarley through the first 4 frames. That'll be his 37th strikeout. I believe that will be third or fourth here on the Viking bullpen. Addison Southwick has 39 coming into today. Chance Carruthers with 38. And yeah, coming into today, Zach DeMarley was tied with Adam Beneritis at 36, so that will be number 37 on the year. So the Vikings have a 1-run lead here into the bottom of the 4th. This is a must-win game for the Vikings. Now, Elmhurst has no chance of getting into the conference tournament 3-15. But the Vikings here have won a pair of conference tournaments. This senior class here, 115 total wins, 2 conference tournament championships, and a pair of NCAA playoff appearances. Actually have in my hands here the number 44, worn by Chase Mayfield, whose parents should be here in attendance. Brother Davis Mayfield, senior from Round Lake, on pitching staff here for Elmhurst. Davis Mayfield also wearing 44. Should get an exchange here to the parents. Get that out to Chase. So, quick conversation. I believe that was with Joe Heller over there. Joe Heller, the second season head coach here for the Blue Jays. Not sure what the delay is here. Joe Heller coming in 19-58 in his 2 seasons here with Elmhurst. And Alex Simon back up to bat here. Here's the 0-1. Now Alex Simon, well, he's been hitting 208. Real strong in that leadoff spot, 2 for 8. It's good for a 250 leadoff batting average. And here's the 1-2. That one will be popped up, and it looks like it will be the first baseman, Rock Smith, that will pull that one in. It was a mile high, but only about 30 feet long. So Daniel Moselle, he had a single in his first at bat, came around and scored. That one high and inside, right about his chin level for ball 1. That moves to 1-1. Moselle hitting .244 on the year. His last at bat was his 30th hit for the year. He has a .383 on base, a .294 slug. And that one will be his second at bat. He's going to stretch too. Will he get there in time? He's going to slide in underneath for a double. So a nice hit down the third base line. So Moselle going 2 for 2. Here to get things going. So a senior having a great day. That will be Moselle's 4th double of the year. Alec McGinnis had a sac fly RBI in his first at bat. That last RBI for McGinnis, the 12th for the 5th-year player. And 1-0 here to the second baseman. So 1-1 the count. And shows a bunt there. Now will he get back in time and threw him out? So showed a bunt, and Eric Malott gets it over to Brett Veracruz. Shortstop goes, covers second and tags Moselle. So that would be the second attempt caught. It would technically be caught stealing. I'm not quite sure how they would be considered a pickoff. Going back to second. And on the 2-2, that one will be hit over to the third baseman. And the throw off is Rock Smith, though, able to tag McGinnis out at first. So with top of the 5th here, the Vikings will take a 3-2 lead when we return.
Leading off Elmhurst, the left fielder, number 33, Tommy Wickers.
So Tommy Wickers getting .315 on the year, .458 on base, a 348 slug. That's good for an 806 OPS. Now Wickers has the strongest leadoff batting average in .412. She takes a big cut at that one. Good pitch there by DeMarley. 0-2. Wickers 7 for 17 in that leadoff. That one will be foul. Said that one was outside. Had to have just missed the plate. Now the 1-2. And said he check swing that one for out number 1. Now Rock Smith, 0 for 2 so far. Hit to a 6-3 and out inning number 1. And flew out to Riley Hendren out there in right field to end the second. Here's the 1-0. And the 2-0. That one will be fouled off. And the 2-1 caught the inside of the plate there. 2-2 now. That one will be hit to Alec McGinnis there at second for a 4-3 out number 2. Alec McGinnis there at second. Going into the last game here earlier in the week, had 505 assists. That is most in Viking history. And that will be a base hit to the right fielder for Evan Johnson. So Johnson, that was 0 for 2 coming into that at bat, gets his first base hit.
Second baseman, number 6, Carson Gennady.
So Carson Gennady, 0 for 2. Gennady was hitting .306 for the year, 6 for 23 with 2 outs. That's good for a .261 2-out batting average. The 0-1. And heading to second to Moselle. Tags him. And that will be Evan Johnson's second time he's been caught stealing this year. And a great throw by the 5th year, Alex Simon, from behind the dish. So a little bit of payback there from Daniel Moselle, who was able to make tag out there himself. So when the Blue Jays return here on top of the 6th, Carson Gennady will lead things off. So things have been a little quiet here for both teams in the past couple of innings. Blue Jays put up 2 in the top of the 2nd. Vikings scored 1 at the bottom of 1, 2 at the bottom of 2, but both have been scoreless for the past couple of innings. But the Vikings will be leading things off here at the bottom of the 5th. And Riley Hendren making his 3rd at bat, his 2nd leadoff. And That one will be popped up, and it's hanging up there. He's able to make it all the way down to first before the second baseman in Carson Gennady pulls that one in. So Ryan Kuhn, now he struck out looking for the first out in the first. Then he had an RBI single in the second. Will be making his third plate appearance. Counts 1-1 here to Kuhn. Kuhn has 4 doubles on the year. No home runs, no triples. Coming in today, Ryan Kuhn had 50 total bases. That was tied for third. The RBI single that put him 51. That will be hit over to Carson Gennady for a 4-3 out number 2. Now Caleb Hackman, he had a double in the second, will be stepping in, struck out on the final out of the second, making his third plate appearance. Hackman coming into today 66 total bases. Now at 69 for the season. After he made it all the way around to third in the first. That is the best here for the Vikings. And second best coming in, it was best coming into today. I believe Riley Hendren should be leading things at, I believe, 72 after his first couple at bats. Here's the 1-2 with Hackman. Low. 2-2. And the 2-2. That one will be hit to the center fielder, Aiden Nieves, and that should be the final out, and it is, as he pulls that one in for the final out. So again, a very quiet fifth and couple of innings here for both teams. We are heading to the top of the sixth as Carson Gennady will be back inside the batter box to lead things off for the Blue Jays when we return.
Leading off for Elmhurst, the second baseman, number 6, Carson Gennady.
So Carson Gennady, he will lead things off here. This will be his, technically, I guess, 4th plate appearance. He didn't finish that one. In the 5th, Evan Johnson was caught stealing. But Gennady led off the second, flew out to right. Popped up to Colton Davis over there at third. In the second, takes the 1-1 pitch. And that will be to Caleb Hackman, who lost his hat in the process.
Next batter for Elmhurst, the third baseman, number 8.
Now Calvin Keith, he had a double over the right fielder's head, and Riley Hendren came around and scored in the second, was the first, and then reached first on an error by Colton Davis. They're in the third. The 0-1 to Calvin Keith. That one's popped up, and it'll make its way about 8 feet over to the right of the batter's box as Alex Simon will pull that one in for the second out.
Next batter for Blue Jays, the designated hitter, number 40, Blake
So Blake Gould, he had a base hit in the second. Came around and scored, hit into a 6-3 for the final out of the third with his third at bat. That one's off the plate for ball one. 82 pitches here from Zach DeMarley on the mound. Here's the 1-0, and over the outstretched hands of Daniel Moselle. And Kuhn will get that one in. So a base hit.
number 5, Eric Malott.
And as Eric Malott comes in. Eric Malott 1 for 2 with an RBI. Coach Howard will come out and have a conversation with DeMarley on the mound. DeMarley, 84 pitches through 5 2/3, 2 runs, one of which was earned, a walk, and a pair of strikeouts to the 25 batters he has faced. Couple of Vikings warming up still down there in the bullpen. Addison Southwick, looks like maybe Brian Fisher. And the 2-0 pitch is a called strike. Now Eric Malott, while he's been hitting .220 on the year, 11 for 34 with 2 outs. That's good for a .324 2-out batting average. Here's the 3-1. That will be ball 4. And Coach Wallace has made an appearance. And we'll see if that's it for DeMarley.
Center fielder, number 1, Adam Nieves.
So that puts Gold on second. Malott over there on first. So Wallace just checking down the bullpen here. Here's the 0-1. That one fouled off. And Wallace will head back down inside the dugout with an 0-2 count against Adon Nieves. So great attendance here at home. A little cloudy, upper 50s. 2 outs, 2 runners on. 1-2 delivery by DeMarley. That is in the dirt. And the 2-2 pitch from DeMarley will be fouled off. Zach Gullickson doing the yeoman's work over there, shagging that one. And the 2-2, that one is popped up, and that should be an out, as it is. The first baseman, Charlie Bergen, will catch that one in foul territory. So the Blue Jays leave 2 on through 5 at-bats. And Brett Veracruz will lead things off when the Blue Jays return in the top of the 7th. So the Vikings will take a 1-run lead to the bottom of the 6th when we return.
Leading off for your Vikings, the first baseman, number 44, Charlie Bergen.
So the man that's responsible for the final out of that last inning will be stepping in. Charlie Bergen, third at bat, second in the leadoff. Sees the 1-1 high in the zone. Count moves to 2-1. Now Bergen 0 for 2. Hit to a 6-3 both times. That one will be foul. Count moves to 2-2. Two to Bergen. Again, we'll foul that one off. Charlie Smith still on the mound for the Vikings. 71 pitches through 5 innings. 6 hits, 3 runs, all of which were earned. Pair of walks and 2 strikeouts to the 21 batters he had faced. And the 2-2, that hits him. And that will take Bergen down to first. And for Charlie Bergen, that is third on the Viking team this year. That's his 11th. Both him and Alec McGinnis were tied for third. Riley Hendren, the most hit by, with 14, and Daniel Moselle with 12. So Dimitri Kanalakis comes in. He takes the first pitch there, a called strike. Kanalakis hit into a 6-3 for the final out of the first. That one will be fouled off for strike two. Now the 0-2, Kanalakis, that is hit to right center, and they will say that was caught by the right fielder, Evan Johnson, even though he dropped it there. That was on the transfer. So he had secured the catch long enough. For out number one. So Colton Davis, with one out, will step in. That one will be popped up. So the count move 0-2. Third plate appearance by Davis. Davis walked to lead off the second, came around and scored. That one will get through for a base hit, as both Brett Veracruz and Carson Gennady not able to make a play on that one. So that will be Davis's 19th hit of the season. That advances Bergen to second. And Alex Simon technically would be his fourth plate appearance here. Popped up to the third baseman in the second. Was at bat on a 1-2 pitch before Kanalakis was picked off. Caught stealing technically as he was heading back to second. Popped up to the first baseman to lead off the fourth. Takes a 1-1 pitch there. Smith checks the runner and deals that one just on the inside of the plate there. Counts 1-2. One-two pitch, will foul that one off. 1-2. Up and away for ball 2. Charlie Smith through 84 pitches, 54 have been strikes. 7 flyouts, 5 groundouts so far. That'll be a base hit by Simon. And they're sending Bergen home, and he will make it around, and the Vikings will extend their lead 4-2. And for Simon, that's his 7th RBI. And Bergen makes his way around for his 14th run of the season. That'll put Colton Davis at second. And with that, that will be the it of the outing. I guess they're not sending anyone in, it looks like. I thought that would have been it for them, but quick conversation on the mound. Vikings tennis team defeated in the championship match here today, falling to the top-seeded Cardinals by a score of 4-1. So the men's tennis team having a good year this year. So Charlie Smith will remain on the mound, and Daniel Moselle will lay down a bunt. Will he get down to first? No, he will not. So a nice play by Eric Malott. But that does advance the runners. Davis to third, Simon to second. And with 2 outs, Alec McGinnis will step in. McGinnis hit 295 on the year. 250 with 2 outs, 9 for 36 so far with 2 outs this year. First pitch there is a called strike. So the Vikings have Colton Davis on third, Alex Simon there on second. Here's the 0-1, up in the zone. 1-1 the count. One. That one is popped up, but it will sail over the net. One, two. That one will be hit to the shortstop in Veracruz, and he will get it over to the first baseman for the final out. As the Vikings leave a pair of runners on, but do extend the lead 4-2 in the bottom of the 6th. When the Vikings return, they will be back, and Riley Hendren will be leading off for the 3rd time in the 7th. Veracruz, the shortstop for the Blue Jays, will be leading things off here for the Blue Jays. Now on the mound, we have a new Viking. And that is Brian Fisher, number 36, the junior from Centennial. He is making his 17th appearance. Brian Fisher, 0-1 on the year, has a pair of saves, a 2.59 ERA, 1.25 for WHIP. through 31 in a third. We'll like to give some parent shout-outs here as Darlene Gullickson enjoying a little Tommy Two-Tone just outside the press box here. Jenny 8675309. So Brett Veracruz. He will take that first pitch, hits it to McGinnis, and McGinnis gets it to Bergen for a leadoff 4-3 out number one. Now Veracruz hitting 266. He's 9 for 43 in that leadoff spot. That's good for 209. Now 9 for 44 on the season. Tommy Wickers. This will be his fourth at bat. Reached in the first on an error, walked in the second, and struck out to lead off the fifth. Takes the first pitch. Now Brian Fisher, so far this year, 29 hits, 15 runs, 9 of which were earned. Count moves to 1-2 to Tommy Wickers, the left fielder. Now Fisher, 26 strikeouts, 10 walks through 137 batters he has faced. Steve Aragon saying that was strike 3 from his seat. There's the 2-2 and got him. So for 2 outs, that was the 27th strikeout for Fisher this year, the junior from Centennial, Colorado. Just sweet out there. Here's the first pitch. That will be over to the third baseman, Colton Davis. Davis gets it to Bergen, and Bergen extends out and pulls that one in, almost in a full split there. So those that like to get some shout outs here, those that Steve Aragon and Karen Aragon in attendance. Both took a couple of different flights coming in to watch their fifth-year son, Michael Aragon. Steve had a long enough layover flight that he could have probably drove here from Chicago.
Now pitching for the Elmhurst Blue Jays, number 22, Jack Kruger.
So Jack Kruger will step in. Bottom of the seventh, a freshman from Mount Prospect, Illinois. Comes in with a record of 3-3, no saves, a 5.93 ERA, and a 1.750 WHIP. Through 44 innings, he has pitched. Kruger is making his 11th appearance of the year, relieving Charlie Smith, who finished the day with 6 innings, 95 pitches, 8 hits, 4 runs, all of which were earned. A pair of walks and strikeouts through 27 batters he had faced. In the 1-1 to Riley Hendren. This will be his 4th plate appearance. That will be hit to the 3rd baseman, Calvin Keith, and he will get it to Rock Smith for out number 1. So Jack Kruger, now he's come in there on the mound, 66 hits, 35 runs, 29 of which were earned, 18 strikeouts, 11 walks, through 205 batters he has faced. Ryan Kuhn with his 4th plate appearance. Here's the 1-0. Count moves to 1-1. That one hit to the center fielder, and that will be out number 2. So that's 2 outs for the center fielder, Don Yavies. And with 2 outs, Caleb Hackman will step in. Hackman leads the Vikings with 4 home runs. Here's the 1-0. That one will be popped up. And who will pull that one in? It'll be the 2nd baseman, Carson Ganotti, for the final out. So 3 up and 3 down. And the Blue Jays holding on to a 2-run disadvantage here to the Vikings. So we are back to the top of the 8th here in Swanson Stadium, Bruner Field, and Rock Island when we return.
For the Elmhurst Blue Jays, the right fielder, number 24, Evan Johnson.
So this will be Evan Johnson's 4th plate appearance. 2nd time he's led off. Now he popped up to lead off the 3rd to Colton Davis over there on 3rd. Evan Johnson coming this year hitting .275, but just .190. In that leadoff spot. He was 4 for 21, 4 for 22 now. And we'll see what happens in his 23rd leadoff attempt. He pulls that foul. Counts 1-2. And that will be hit to the right field. Not a big hit. That looked like it came off maybe the lower barrel of the bat there, but it will drop for a base hit.
The second baseman, number 6, Carson Gennady.
Carson Gennady will step in. 0 for 3. This technically be his 5th plate appearance. He was there in the batter's box in the 5th when Evan Johnson got caught stealing for the final out. So Gennady was led off the 2nd and the 6th. Pull out to right field in the 2nd, left field in the 6th, and popped up to Colton Davis in the 3rd. So he sits at a 2-0 count. To Brian Fisher. Fisher coming in 39 groundouts, 22 flyouts, and 1 pickoff. It was a good pitch there by Fisher. Counts 2-1. Fisher, 17th appearance, had 3 starts this year. That one's hit to the center fielder and Ryan Kuhn, and he'll make several adjustments for the first out. You have to imagine Brian Fisher's going to be probably a pretty regular starter next year in his senior year. Has one of the better ERAs here on the team. Actually looking up and down, the best ERA, 2.59. Slightly better than Zach DeMarley and let's see here, Chance Carruthers, Cam Miller, all in the 3s. That one's to the left fielder. Caleb Hackman whips his head around, not able to come and get that one. So that'll put Johnson on 2nd. And Calvin Keith over there on 1st. Now Blake Gould, this will be his 4th plate appearance, had a single in the 2nd and the 6th, both to left field, left center kind of area. With 1 out. Now Gould, well, he's been hitting 143. He's just 1 for 4 coming into today. It's 250 batting average with 2 runners on. Here's the 1-0. The 1-1 here from Fisher as he checks Johnson there in 2nd. Fisher with the 2-1. Excuse me, 1-2 for out number 2.
Next batter for Blue Jays, Greg Fletcher. Number 5, Eric Malott.
So Eric Malott had a single in the 2nd, walked in the 6th. Out to left field to lead off the 4th. Will be making his 4th appearance here. Here's the 0-1 to Malott. Good pitch there. Swing and a miss from Malott for a 2nd strike. Marmolot's been hitting .324 with 2 outs, but 10 for 20 with 2 runners on. It's a good .500 with 2 runners on. Fisher checks the runner at second. And that one will be popped up. And that will be foul. So 2 outs. Blue Jays tying a run on first as they trail 4-2. And Fisher gets him to pop up. And that will be Colton Davis is coming around to make the catch. And he will for the final out. So the Blue Jays leave a couple of runners on. We're heading to the bottom of the 8th, and Charlie Bergen will be making his 3rd leadoff appearance, 4th at bat. Vikings lead 4-2 here at home in Game 1 inside Swanson Stadium, Bruner Field. Stay tuned.
Leading off for your Augustana Vikings, the first baseman, number 44, Charlie Bergen.
So Charlie Bergen here, still looking for his first hit of the game. Into a pair of 6 threes, was hit by a pitch. And we'll take the first pitch there, low and away for ball 1. So we are in the bottom of the 8th. The Vikings lead 4-2 over the visiting Blue Jays. Vikings trying to improve to 20-18 overall, 8-11 here in the conference. We'll check some scores here in between games and see where the chances are at for the Vikings to make the CCIW conference tourney. Here's the 2-1. One thing I will say, anybody who gets into the conference tournament, it's really anyone's ball game at that point. 3-1 and ball 4, and Charlie Bergen will take his 9th walk down to first. Kanalakis coming in. Kanalakis, 3 doubles, 2 triples, 22 RBIs on the year, 13 runs, lays down the bunt. That would be the second one of the game, as that will advance Bergen to second. So the Vikings playing their prototypical small ball here.
Next batter for your Vikings, the third baseman, number 3, Colton Davis.
So that advances Bergen with 1 out. Colton Davis will come in, been having a good day here so far. Here's the 0-1. That one hit over to Calvin Keith at third. And that will keep Bergen at second. So with 2 outs, Alex Simon. He will jump in with 2 outs, hitting 190. Simon and Aragon, a pair of switch hitters here on this Vikings roster. So he'll jump to the other batter box for the first time of the day. And that one will be hit. Bergen was looking to take third on that one, but he'll have to head back to second. And Simon, that is his 8th hit by a pitch this year. So Moselle, 2 for 2 with a run. This will be his 4th plate appearance. And airmailed that one. So both Vikings are going to advance on that throw from Eric Malott, as that one ended in right field, or right center. Moselle was been hitting 244, 235 with 2 outs, 208 with 2 runners on. This is his 35th 2 out as he hits that to left field and looks like it should be a routine fly out, and as it is for the final out. And we're heading to the top of 9, but the bottom of the order. Don Nieves will be leading off, and Addison Southwick will be looking to finish this game out.
Now pitching for the Augustana Vikings, number 37, Addison Southwick.
So Addison Southwick coming in. This will be his 23rd appearance. That is the most pitching appearances in the CCIW, I believe, this year. At least we'll say by the conference stats on the NC2A site. Puts him number 1. So Addison Southwick, the 5th-year senior from Arvada, comes in. 1 win, no losses, pair of saves, a 3.38 ERA, 1.375 WHIP through 37 1/3 inning pitched.
Leading off Elmhurst, number 12, Marty Pregame.
We have a different batter here in place of Don Nieves. That is Marty Fraga. So 1-1. Fraga 13 hits through 77 at bats. This will be his 32nd appearance this year. He started in 23 previous games. That one will be hit to McGinnis. McGinnis to Bergen. And that is another assist in the books for McGinnis. And now,
Next batter for Elmhurst, the shortstop, number 29.
so Brett Veracruz, this will be his 5th at bat, hitting to a 4-3 to lead off the 7th. That one's popped up. Simon tracking it and steps on the bat, but makes the out for the final out. And we have a pinch hitter here, Connor Drowns, number 3, in for Tommy Wickers.
Now batting for Elmhurst, number 3, Connor Brown.
So Connor Drowns, a sophomore from Pekin Community. I think they might be the Dragons down there. 12 hits through 47 at-bats. This will be his 19th appearance, hitting .255. That one hit to the left fielder and Caleb Hackman, and that will be it. As the Vikings take game 1, 4-2 on 8 hits through 27 at-bats. So we will be back here in about 30 to 45 minutes. Make sure you jump on to the second stream here. I would say probably somewhere close to 3:30, 3:45 at the very latest. For game 2, the Vikings improve to 20-18, 8-11 here in conference. The Blue Jays fall to 9-30 overall, 3-16. Game 2 here in about 30 minutes. Stay tuned. From Swanson Stadium, Bruner Field, I'm Matthew Nickel. Thanks for joining us.